Alright guys, welcome back to another Opera Omnia video where we're going to do some pool planning for some of the upcoming characters who are going to be getting reworks or brand new weapons, so on and so forth in the month of June for global DFFOO. So let me know down in the comment section below what your plans are going to be for the characters that we are going to be covering in this video. If you're going to be skipping any of these, passing up on them, polling for them, whatever it is, do let me know down in the comment section below. Now, I could definitely see a lot of people or a lot of players say that they will probably pass up on a lot of these characters or a lot of these weapons because the FR/Shinryu era is very close, so pretty much the month after June going into July. So I don't blame people for passing up on a lot of these characters' kits, but regardless of all that though, I'm gonna let you guys know and briefly explain what some of these characters are gonna be getting. When it comes to a lot of these side units who are gonna be getting reworks, I'm not gonna talk too much about them, but kind of like briefly mention like, oh, they're getting this many HP dumps on this attack, and you know, so on and so forth. Just some things that I feel like it would be important to mention, especially to any recently new players. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Let's first talk about Prishe and Yuna. Now, I've already done my Who Should You BT Plus video with my good friend Cait, so you guys already know that I'm not going to be BT Plusing any of these two units unless all of a sudden they just decide to appear. Now, I do have Yuna's BT, but with Yuna though, I am going to hold off on BT Plusing her, even though she is a very solid BT Plus unit. Whenever she gets her future rework and her FR weapon, she becomes much better. And at the time in JP when she got her BT plus, I was still unable to get her BT weapon, so I did just fine without it. But for sure I would definitely green her whenever she does receive her FR, so I'm gonna hold off until then. And then for Prishe, I'm gonna be throwing some tickets at her banner. I am gonna be doing a collab video, a pool battle against a smaller content creator for her LD, and then, you know, we'll see if we manage to get the BT alongside with that. But I will be throwing some tickets to at least get the LD, you know, for like the challenge quest and all that good stuff. Plus her call ability is not bad either, giving me the ability to be able to deal that additional brave hit can actually come in handy in some fights. So I will be throwing some tickets for her. I'm not gonna go too crazy for it, but I will throw some. Now when it comes to the units who are gonna be getting reworks, it's gonna be Fran and Celes. Celes is gonna be with Yuna, and then Fran is going to be with Prishe. Now with these two characters, Fran, I do believe a lot of people know that with Fran, she has that very good debuff that has a max stacks of 10. Whether you use her as a call ability, you will be able to take advantage of all of the debuffs that is going to be, or I guess like all of the debuffs put together into one frame debuff. Is nice to actually have inflicted onto the enemy because it does deal different things. But you know, even using her as like a friend support just to get like the better percentages from a debuff is not a bad option either. But regardless of that, her LD ability will be getting an additional HP dump, and it will now deal splash damage. Her skill 2, the regular version, will deal 2 HP dumps. The plus version will deal 4 HP dumps, and it does deal split HP damage. And then when it comes to her skill 1, the regular version does 2 HP dumps with splash damage, and then the plus version deals 4 HP dumps. So I'm not going to go over the C90s and whatnot. I don't feel like I should go over that. I mean, if anything, you guys are more than welcome to check out this City of Companion, which is what I am looking at now, and you can look into said characters a little bit more in depth. And then with Celes, Celes does get a solid rework, but she is going to be getting a BT and an FR and another rework in the future. So if you have her LD now, then, you know, that's 2 weapons, or that's 1 less weapon that you have to worry about to pull for in the future if you are going to be pulling for her BT and FR. But in general, right now, for what she is going to be getting with Divine Bahamut, her LD ability will have 4 HP dumps, and her trap attack will will now be 2 HP dumps, which is very nice. She does recover, or she does increase the amount of Brave recovered in between HP attacks, except for the last, by 50% now. Then when it comes to her skill 2, her skill 2 now has instant turn rate, which is nice. It doesn't add to the turn count unless you're using her as a friend support or during the summon phase. And her skill 2 now deals 2 HP dumps. And her skill 1 now deals 4 HP dumps and now adds more Magic Brave damage resist up. Now being 80%, previously it was 60%. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Like that, the one thing about when it comes to like reworks or characters who have gotten multiple reworks and Global hasn't gotten to one yet, is that they do tend to put them together, so I apologize for that. But no, her skill 1 now becomes 3 HP dumps, and does deal 50% splash damage and now increases Brave by 30% of the HP damage though after each HP attack. And she now inflicts the ice resist down to all enemies for 4 turns after the first HP attack. So yeah, I'm sorry for the confusion. It's just that's how they have it set up here on Dissidia Compendium. I kind of wish it was organized by, like, you know, what gets released first. But yeah, Celes though, if you don't have her, if you want to snag her LD weapon now, it would not be a bad idea, because like I said, she does get a future rework, and then she also gets a BT and an FR, and she becomes so much better with what she gets in the future. So if you do manage to get an LD, like while pulling for Yuna, if you're going on the if you're going in on the Yuna banner, then good for you, because that's one less weapon you have to worry about. But Celes is does become a much better tank as of now, but of course later on she becomes much better. Next up is going to be Shelke's Lost Chapter. Now Shelke and Lulu are going to be getting C90s, reworks, and then Lulu will finally be getting her LD weapon. Now her rework is not really all that, in my opinion. Her skill 2, 3 HP dumps, and even the plus version, it's the same deal, except that it deals AoE damage. On the regular version, it does not. It's just a single target. And her skill 1, 3 HP dumps in total. It does ignore defense now, which is nice. Both skills do get additional uses as well. It does inflict the fire resist down after the first HP attack, and then the plus version now deals AoE damage, and it's still 3 HP dumps and whatnot. So the rework is, you know, honestly, it could have been better. I really feel like Lulu is pretty underwhelming. Then when it comes to her LD ability is where I really thought that they would actually make her like way better than I thought they would. Like, don't get me wrong, 7 HP dumps on an LD ability is very nice, and also getting a free ability use. She does grant 5 stacks of the Doll Master buff, which she had in the past before, but the difference now compared to how she is currently is that now she adds party HP damage up, and she also adds a party fire enchant, which she already had that with her EX buff, but this is another I guess I like more fire. I can't really say more fire enchant, but like another buff that does grant that for the party. But the difference between this and the other buff is that this combines with other elements, and then when the party, whenever they are using fire attacks, it adds more brave potency to it. So yeah, if your party does get enchanted with fire enchant from Lulu, then aside from whatever element it is that they are dealing, they will also be dealing fire brave damage on top of that. So, and that's really the only difference, really. Like, I would have been happy if they would have made her similar to what Rydia did when it comes to basically just ignoring whatever like absorption and whatnot it is that they have, and like you'll still be dealing weakness damage regardless of whatever it is that's happening. I kind of wish that they would have given that to Lulu, but they didn't. And because of that, I do find her a bit underwhelming, so I'm not gonna be going too crazy for her. At the minimum, I will at least throw some tickets at her banner, but that's about it. Like I didn't really go ham for her in JP. I still don't have her LD ability if I'm not mistaken, so I'm not gonna be going too crazy on the global side either. Shelke, she will be getting a rework with her upcoming Lost Chapter. Her skill 2 will have 2 HP dumps on the regular version, and then when it comes to her plus version, she just deals more 2 additional brave hits. Her overhead makes it so that now she has last stand, which is pretty nice. Her skill 1, 2 HP dumps, and then when it comes to her plus version, the only difference that I see here is that she increases, she has a higher increase in brave gain now based on 200% of attack, and she now allows for higher stolen max brave overflow, and that's about it. So nothing too spectacular with Shelke, even though I have seen some JP players actually use her in some Shinryu fights, but of course, you know, you'd have to pair her up with like good support units to be able to make her, you know, deal some pretty good damage. So I already have her LD and whatnot, so I mean, I'm basically just getting a free upgrade. And then again, for Lulu, I mean, I'll throw some tickets at her, but like in my opinion, she's not really worth the chase unless she is a favorite of yours. Next up, we're going to be talking about Sice. Now, Sice is going to be the brand new character for Global for the month of June. Sice is actually not a bad character, and I know that, you know, players are probably going to say, like, oh, why pull for her? Because, like, you know, the Shinryu era is right around the corner, this and that. I feel like it's going to be a waste, whatever reasoning it is that players are going to be given about her. But like overall in general though, she's actually not a bad character in my opinion. I mean, like she does have Dark and Peril. She most of her attacks deal Dark Brave damage. You also have she does delay. She does have the traps, which they trigger after the enemy turn. She is able to evade attacks. She has follow-up attacks, which is via the traps. She has a stack buff, and she even gives herself a free ability use. Sice is not a bad character whatsoever. She has not gotten anything new on JP ever since her initial release, but her Lost Chapter is actually coming up very, very soon. So the chances of her getting another rework and an FR is very likely, especially with her trap, because her trap does inflict 1 HP dump in total, and that's about it. And it does deal splash damage, which is really good as well. But like overall though, like in my opinion, her damage output is very solid. Like she's a very fun character, but not only that, like she's a fun character, but she is also a good character to have as well. So, and like she can definitely dish out some very, very good damage. I mean, like I still remember that she can even solo her own Lufania Plus, which I know we're in the doo-doo area and whatnot, but like still knowing that she is able to do that is pretty cool. So I myself, I will be throwing tickets for her kits. Hopefully I can get her LD pretty early, so that way I can just token and everything else. Just because like Sice is a pretty solid character, and something tells me that with her upcoming Lost Chapter, like she's gonna become like busted. So also one thing to note is that her traps do actually get affected by the FR gauge, which normally with some traps from certain units it doesn't get affected by the FR gauge, but with hers it does. So yeah, I will be throwing some tickets at her banner for sure. Now alongside with Sice, Len and Ren will be getting a rework. Their rework is not really all that. I mean, like remember the twins, they are AoE nukes at the time of their release. Of course we've had like many other characters that is able to dish out some very strong AoE damage. The twins though, like they have their uses in my opinion. Are they worth like going crazy over? I would say no, because like when it comes to their skill 1 and skill 2, they don't really get too much of a difference. And then when it comes to their EX ability, which I know I wasn't going to talk too much about it, but I'm kind of being brief about it. Their EX ability 4 HP dumps now in total compared to what the single HP dump they had in the past. So I mean that's pretty much about it with them. So like I mean, if you had the twins in the past, if you green them, you're pretty much getting a free upgrade. In my opinion, though, it's not really worth chasing the twins because if I'm not mistaken, they have not gotten any type of FR enhancements or anything like that. So maybe by the time they do get all that, they will become monstrous. So, but the twins, though, for any new player, I think you'd be just fine with passing up on them. Now, next up will be the mid-June BT units, which is going to be Vincent and Sephiroth. Now, Vincent, I like how Vincent's kit is. I mean, remember, Vincent with his LD was a Global First LD. But with his BT, though, I love his BT effect because of the fact that it's basically a negative BT effect aura for the enemy. So all enemies will have an attack down, max brave down, defense down, speed down, brave damage resist down, HP damage resist down, and they will be unable to grant themselves any buffs. And then with his BT plus, it makes it so that all enemies have a much lower, or I guess like a much higher percentage in the HP damage resist down, being 30% instead of the 20. And then he does increase for the party, increases the brave damage cap up. So Vincent is more lenient towards like, hey, like I'm just gonna make your this fight miserable for you, and that's about it. Like, he does get a rework. He does get a very solid rework in my opinion, with his LD, EX, and all that good stuff, since he is getting a C90. I will be pulling for Vincent only because like he is it's FF7. I'm a huge fan of FF7, so any FF7 characters I will for sure be pulling on. So and having his BT effect, especially for tier 9, will be very, very helpful because tier 9 can be a pain in the butt with all those shenanigans you got to put up with, and Vincent just makes it like 10 times easier. Honestly, I'm not even in the mood to deal with all the shenanigans that these bosses hit you with. So having Vincent on the team would be very, very good. He hasn't gotten any FR enhancements or FR weapon just yet, but I feel like whenever they do decide to give it to him, he's gonna be so much better in my opinion. Now, do I see a rework happening for him? It could be possible, but I guess we'll have to see where JP, I guess the direction of where JP goes. But Vincent for sure I will be pulling. I will probably use gems on him. Sephiroth with his BT plus and his rework is not bad in my opinion. Like, it's just more HP dumps in general, which is pretty good. His EX ability, if I remember correctly, now actually breaks the enemy. Let me double check that real quick. So yes, it inflicts breaks to all enemies and excluding broken enemies, and does 5 HP dumps, which is very, very nice. His BT effect, the one thing that people or players did not like was the fact that his BT effect only got extended by 1 turn, and that's about it. And then when it comes to, or I guess the other half of his BT effect would be that now he increases party attack up, brave damage, cap up, and brave gains up. The biggest thing about Sephiroth, though, aside from his rework and knowing that he's going to be dealing higher damage, is the fact that really you're just going to be taking advantage of his BT effect. And remember, his BT effect sets all enemies brave to 1 after every field turn. Now, there have been a lot of uses with Sephiroth as of late, especially with a lot of characters that love to break enemies, and they get follow-ups. And the character that I'm talking about is Dorgon, but Dorgon won't be dropping until November, if I'm correct on that. So Dorgon, whenever somebody in the party breaks, or if he breaks as well, then he triggers a follow-up attack. So like Sephiroth and Dorgon are basically like best friends, and that's the thing. Like, his BT effect, it's very situational in terms of like let's say like fights where his BT effect would be convenient to have, or like just characters that can appreciate the easy break for them to take advantage and you know, and benefit from it. So Sephiroth, I did BT plus him in JP only because, again, FF7. I will probably hold off on BT plusing him this time on my global account until like you know, we go deeper into Shinryu, and if I feel like his BT effect would be helpful, then I will BT plus him. But as of right now, I'm just gonna take the free rework and, you know, go on about my day. Now, the LD units for these two banners is going to be Porom and Galuf. Porom, again, was not mentioned at all during the community livestream, nor was her name in the community slide. So I'm not sure exactly what's going to be happening with Porom. I really hope that they don't push her or anything like that, and she does release at the time that she is supposed to be released. But the only rework that she is going to be getting aside from a C90 is that now she starts off with her LD buff for 6 turns. Her LD ability now deals 4 HP dumps, and then when it comes to that additional attack from her LD ability, she now reduces all enemies brave by 100% of the party's current HP, and it now deals 3 HP dumps. So very, very nice rework in my opinion. Her EX ability, let me take a look at that real quick. Her EX ability now deals 4 HP dumps and now deals full HP damage to all enemies. So not a bad, even though it's a small rework, it's not a bad rework at all in my opinion. Her White Arcana buff now provides the party with a 20% HP damage up. So Porom definitely becomes a much solid character now with her rework. Is she chase worthy though? As good as she is, it really just depends if you need a character that heals, that has HP overflow, that is able to reduce incoming HP damage via the buff, the 2-turn buff that she provides to the target that she selects, and that's about it. So it really just depends on all of that. And then with Galuf, Galuf being the evasion tank that he is, he now starts off with his LD buff for 6 turns. Or is it the LD buff or is it his overhead? No, it's his LD buff. Okay, I don't know why I thought overhead. But he now starts off the quest with that. His LD ability now deals 4 HP dumps. When it comes to his attack, whenever he dodges, it now deals 3 HP dumps, and now adds party except for himself HP damage up by 20%. His skill 2, 3 HP dumps in total. The plus version, the only difference I see here, actually there's not really much of a difference between his plus and his regular, unless I'm not seeing something. No, I don't see anything. Alright. Well, I guess, you know, aside from that, he does get an additional 5 uses to his skill 2, which is nice. And then his counter attack does gain a more brave hit. So not a bad rework for Galuf. Galuf is a very solid evasion tank. Me personally, I would pick him up if I was a newer player, just because being able to evade attacks, being able to counter, and other good stuff would be pretty good to have in my roster. Next up will be Relm. Now, Relm, there's no specific date or event on when she is going to be releasing, but Relm does get a rework. So her skill 2, 3 HP dumps with the regular version, does deal 50% splash damage. When it comes to her plus version, there's not really too much of a difference. It seems like it's the same thing, and that's about it. That's a little odd. Her skill 1 now triggers the ability extension follow-up AoE HP attack, and then deals split HP damage, and then follows up with 2 more HP attacks that also deals split HP damage. Now, when it comes to her LD ability, is 4 HP dumps. She grants the new I can draw anything you want for 12 turns. It does deal split HP damage. Now, this buff right here provides all the stuff that you see right there. So adds party except to herself, excuse me. Brave damage up, stolen max brave overflow up, HP damage up, and then provides the party with brave gains up and gained max brave overflow up. And then she does trigger once the sketch ability, I think it's whenever, here, let me find it real quick. Tentacle, okay. So while an additional turn is granted by the sketch debuff that she has inflicted onto the enemies, it will grant her access to this tentacle ability, which is 3 HP dumps in total, splits HP damage, increases her recast gauge by 20%, And if I'm not mistaken, this does... No, it does not go away. This only appears after the sketch debuff shenanigans is triggered, and that's about it. So really her LD ability is, aside from the party auras that she will be giving, it also gives her another ability to be able to deal damage. Now, me, myself, I've never really used Relm like that personally, so I can't really give too much of an opinion, because you know how it is. Like, I typically give an opinion on a character if I actually have used them in the past, but because I haven't really used Relm too much, I can't really say much about her. So for me, like, if I will probably throw some tickets at her. For me myself, I've personally not really seen much uses in the JP side with Relm, so I can't really I can't really give too much on her. I think it would be best for those who are curious about her to probably do some research on her, look up some gameplay and kind of see whether or not you want to pull for her. But for me, I'll throw some tickets at her just to see if I can get her, and then that way I can finally be able to experience what she actually like the full like really just get to experience her kid is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I'll throw some tickets at her banner and see what's going on. The other character that I do want to mention that would release alongside with her would be Cait. Now, Cait is going to be getting a rework on his C90. So his LD ability will be dealing 4 HP dumps and does extend that Lucky Girl buff for 12 turns, which is really solid. And remember, that Lucky Girl buff provides the party with a critical hit rate up, and then also grants the following effects based on the party total buff count. So party gain and stolen max brave overflow up, and then party increase brave by a percentage of max brave for each critical hit. When it comes to, let's see, does he no, it does not. Does it get increased? No, it's still the same. Okay. So yeah, that's gonna be it for that one. His skill 1 does get a rework as well, so it does get 3 additional HP dumps. It does trigger the ability extension follow, so it deals 1 HP attack followed by 2 more HP attacks, and then then that's the regular version. I'm sorry. The plus version deals 2 HP dumps and then now deals full HP dumps full HP damage. And then the plus version is 3 HP dumps and also deals full HP damage. Cait is not a bad LD ability to have, especially as a call ability. Would not be a bad idea to pick up. Only because it will benefit your team, especially if you decide to use Cait as a call ability. So not a bad rework at all for Cait if you decide that you want to use him in the team. Cait would definitely benefit you greatly, for sure, and especially having a character that does provide party critical hit rate up or brave damage or whatever it was. Was it? Hit rate up, yes, is good to have, because there will be certain Shinyus where you would be unable to break an enemy, so having that either on the team or as a call ability would be very good to have. Next up, our second to last thing is going to be Edge. Now, Edge with his intersecting wills. I will for sure pull for his LD weapon. His LD ability is very, very good. Before we look into that, though, when it comes to reworks, he does get additional uses. And then he extends his evasion up to 5 turns, and this is for himself, by the way. His skill 2, 3 HP dumps, not bad. His skill 1, 3 HP dumps, and deals 50% splash damage, not too bad. When it comes to his EX ability, it now becomes 4 HP dumps and deals 50% splash damage. And then when it comes to, let's see here. Did they mess with that? No, they did not. So, yeah, that's about the only thing that changed with his EX ability. Is just more HP dumps. His LD ability, though, his LD ability makes it so that not only does he inflict the fire thunder resist down to all targets after the first HP attack, It does have a high turn rate, deals 4 HP damage, but it provides Edge with an additional attack, a counter attack whenever he evades at attack, and he does get a brand new overhead. And depending on the amount of stacks that you have in this overhead, will equal the damage that you are going to be dealing. So whenever his overhead is at 0 or 1 stacks, it triggers a counter attack with 2 HP dumps that deals 4 HP damage. But when it comes to him being at 2 stacks with his overhead, his counter attack, the animation does change up, but his counter attack is 4 HP dumps, so not bad at all. Edge is a character that I would personally recommend picking up because, like, I have actually used him in a lot of Shinryu fights, especially in 1 to 2 6 warrior quest fights. His ability to not only have self evasion but also provide party evasion, and at the same time be able to counter every time he evades an attack or whenever they try to inflict a debuff, like, really does come in handy, and his damage output is not bad whatsoever. For me, I will for sure be pulling for Edge. I might even use gems on his banner just because, like, I feel very confident enough to say that he is definitely worth picking up because of, like, everything that he now deals with his follow-ups, or not with his follow-ups, with his counter-attacks and being, with his evasion and whatnot, and knowing that I've used him a good amount of times in Shinryu fights. Yeah, he's definitely worth chasing for when his banner drops. And finally, we're going to be talking about King and Jegran. I mean, Shrek. So King is going to be getting a rework. And King is actually the last character to be getting his LD weapon, if I'm not mistaken. So King, with his skill 2, now resets the target's break status and does 3 HP dumps with some splash damage. His skill 1, 3 HP dumps, splash damage. The plus version also deals 3 HP dumps, but gets an increase in amount of brave hits, and the same deal, 50% splash damage. When it comes to his LD ability, though, his LD ability resets all targets break status and deals 4 HP dumps in total, and he does grant the brand new buff called Rock and Roll. Now, Rock and Roll actually does something a little bit not really different, but it changes his HP command to double bullets. So aside from that, it provides him with attack up, stolen max brave overflow up, brave damage up, and HP damage up. Now, the double bullet ability. Now, this ability right here, while the rock and roll is active, and there is at least 2 uses of rapid bullets, it becomes an 8-hit ranged brave plus an HP attack 3 times, deals 50% splash HP damage, and it triggers an ability extension follow, which, guess what, deals another 3 HP dumps in total with 50% splash damage. So yeah, it's basically gives him another way to be able to deal like a much higher damage dealing attack, but it does consume 2 uses of his rapid bullets. But remember that with his skill 2, he is able to reload, as his ability says, so that way he does have access to more of his skill 1. So you get a good amount of uses with his double bullet ability, so not bad at all. In general, though, like, for King, I mean, like, he for me, he is more of a character that I would probably use for fun shenanigans and whatnot, but that's about it. Is he really chase worthy? I'm going to say not really. I did kind of find him a little bit underwhelming, and also because I will also say that with the FR era literally around the corner after King, like, I was like, do I really need him? Was he actually worth chasing for? Even though I did get him a very small amount of tickets. No, not really. Like, he's okay for a character, like, but that's about it. Like, I wasn't really too crazy impressed with what he got, so I'm not gonna be going too crazy for him. I'll probably throw like maybe 150 tickets for his LD weapon and see if I can get it. But other than that, like, I'm not gonna be going too crazy ham for it. And then when it comes to Shrek, I feel like I'm gonna get flamed in the comment section below, but whatever. So his LD ability got upgraded, a big upgrade actually. 7 HP dumps, very, very nice. When it comes to his Crystal Fist, which is that follow-up attack, and now deals 3 HP dumps in total. When it comes to his skill 2, 2 HP dumps. His skill 1, 3 HP dumps. Honestly, in my opinion, this should have been a rework that he should have gotten for his skill 1 and skill 2 compared to what he got previously with his skill 1 dealing 1 HP dump and his skill 2 dealing 2 HP dumps. But knowing that his LD ability now deals 7 HP dumps is very solid. Aside, and also you can also include the additional HP dump with his follow-up attack as well. Whenever you have the max stacks on that special effect or whatever it is that is inflicted on the enemies. When it comes to his EX ability, though, his EX now turns into 3 HP dumps and it deals 50% splash HP damage. So his EX didn't really get too much of an upgrade from that. So it's, you know, that could have been better. Like that right there definitely could have been better. So he has gotten force enhancements recently in the JP side. So of course his HP cap is much higher compared to what it was previously. Jegran, though, even though I have seen some JP players use him, in my opinion, he's not really worth the chase. Still, like I did mention way back when his debut first came to global, that, you know, like, he does get better upgrades, which he does. He does actually get better upgrades now when he gets his rework here in about a month or so. Oh, when he gets his rework here the next few weeks, excuse me. But is he worth like chasing for? Not really, only because like there are other characters that really do much better, especially when it comes to that skill 1 and skill 2. Like you honestly have much better characters that can do much better than what Jegran does. Even though his follow-up attacks, you know, do help out in the missing HP dumps, it's, you know, it's just like, is it really worth chasing for him now? Especially when the FR Shinryu era is like right there. It's like, nah, not really. So, but I guess with that being said, though, guys, I know this has been a long video. If you stuck around, props to you. But that's pretty much going to be my pool plans for the month of June. So again, let me know down in the comment section below what your plans are going to be. And yeah, take care, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one.